Hi, sixth graders. I hope you all are well. I hope you guys blessed your moms for Mother's Day this week. And I hope that you were able to watch my video yesterday on not citing, that's for today, but on setting up your paper in MLA format. It's very important. I actually got a research paper turned in yesterday, and it looks perfect. The student followed exactly what I said. The heading with double-spaced and my name on there and the page number, so it looks so clean and so uniformed when we all do that. So today we're going to talk about citing your sources, citing with a C, C-I-T-E. We want to make sure we give credit to the people that research the information that you are using. And you have to have a page at the end of your paper, at the end of your research paper, titled Works Cited. That used to be called bibliography back in the day when I was a kid and your parents were kids. Now we call it a Works Cited page. You're giving credit to the authors who wrote the information that you're using for your paper. Okay? And almost everybody used websites. I think everybody used websites, but almost everybody exclusively used websites. Had it been a regular school year, everybody would have had to have had at least one book. And a few of you do have books, so I'll go over that quickly too. But you'll need to know those later on anyway, when we all go back to school. So there's some information you want to keep your eyes out for when you're looking up resources. And it's so easy to even forget that somebody actually wrote the information on the internet. We're so used to just pulling up websites, we get the information, and we never give a second thought to, wow, somebody had to look that up, somebody had to fact check that, somebody had to type it, somebody had to code it into this website. Somebody had to publish it, so we want to make sure we give credit. And you guys are very lucky because the sites that you're using, most of them have all this information you need in one spot, whereas before you had to search and hunt and hope that you were lucky. So again, we're using the MLA style, but be aware that not every web page is going to provide all the following information. Like I just said, I've helped students in the past, and I couldn't find it, or I had to go back on my computer just from what they printed out and search. And I always said, why don't they just label what kids need in one spot, because they know that you're going to be citing them as sources. And they've done that now, which is awesome for you guys. So you don't actually have to do that much work. So you want to collect as much information as possible because you want to do, as they say, your due diligence. You want everyone to know, hey, I did not write this information. I organized it once I read it, but somebody else did the work, and we're going to give them credit. So hopefully it's obvious. We're going to look for an author or editor or contributor. Many websites will just have a group of editors or contributors, and not always will they have one singular name, but sometimes they will. That's the first thing we're going to look for, and your information is going to go in this order. So if you're taking notes, I would write these down. That's going to go first. And then the article name in quotation marks. For the most part, that's the name of your person. If you research Ruby Bridges, that's going to be the article title. If you research Walt Disney, that's probably going to be the article title. It's in quotation marks because it's a small part of a big website. So it's just a part of what that website has to offer. And then you're going to put the title of the website, and you guys notice that it's in italics. So if you went to biography.com or ducksters.com, that's what you're going to put in italics. Now, if there's more information, if it's a more scientific website, if there's an addition or revisions or a volume number, that was important when we used encyclopedias back in the day. You needed to know the volume number. If we were doing a National Geographic, which was really popular in my day, we had to know the number. All right, I mean, you can cite anything. If you're doing a YouTube video and you're talking about old comic books or, we'll just say old comic books, and you want to show ones that you have and where you're getting that information from, you would need to, cite the number or the volume of the comic book. It's really important we give credit to who's done the work on that. Then you're going to look for publisher information. This is kind of the hardest to find, including the publisher name. The publishing date should be there, though. They're going to have the date when they put it up. Now, if there's page numbers, you can look for that. That's not very common for this information that we're looking for. the next thing is DOI. It has to do with databases. I don't know that any of you guys are using those. I haven't come across those in the past. So otherwise, we're going to use the URL, but we're not going to put the HTTPS : // Okay, we're just going to start with the www dot and put that in. I mean, I can still access it. And then, last but not least, the date that you access the material. Now, if you copy-pasted it into a Word document, printed it, you can kind of estimate the date that you did that. We all started roughly the same time. You can look back and see when your sources were due. Off the top of my head, I want to say May 1st. So you guys can do that if you look to the sources. Okay? That will help, because if I were to go back and I would say, you know what, so-and-so, your website didn't say this, and you can see, but it did, Mrs. Henderson. It did when I looked it up. And if I had to, I might be able to look at the website and see if they changed information. Because something that I learned through researching for this video is that information changes on the internet, right? It's not always the same. People are constantly updating, correcting. So that's why you want to have the date you accessed it, because if somebody were to go back and check you, you could say, oh, it changed after I looked it up, so I went with the best information I could, which would be true. So you're going to look for those things. All right, so a page on a website, which is what the majority of you guys have. Here are some examples. So you definitely want the author first, and that's there. Here's the article name, How to Make Vegetarian Chili. And then the website is eHow, and you can tell because it's in italics. Okay. Then you have your comma, and then here's the URL. And then they don't have a date there for when it was accessed, or I'm sorry, when it was published, but they do have the date that they accessed it. Okay. Now, if you look, we're going to put a period after the author, period after the title, but we're going to put a comma after the the website title, and period at the very end. Okay, those little things are important, so just be careful. This one does have the date that it was published, so we will put a comma there. Okay, but I'll remind you. And if you guys notice, there's something else different about these. I mean, this one's pretty typical too. You have, this one starts with the article name. You can tell because it's in quotation marks because they don't have, sometimes like a website like WebMD is just going to have, contributors, or they have their own list of authors and doesn't necessarily go on there. So this one does not have an author. So you would start with the article. And there's the website, comma, the date it was published, comma, the URL. And here they don't have a date that they accessed it. So if you don't have that, then you can't put it. Although for you guys, I know that you accessed your information. So go ahead and estimate on a day. Now these are just examples that I pulled from this literary website that's giving me the information on MLA. Now if you're doing a book, this hasn't changed since I was a kid 100 years ago. And again, we want to give credit to the author. Last name, comma, first name, period, title of book in italics. Now when I was a kid, we underlined it because we didn't type anything back then. We wrote it. It's really hard to write in italics. But now everybody has computers or something similar. So that's in italics, period, city of publication, comma, publisher, comma, publication date, period. Just so you guys are aware, there's some newer information saying that the city of publication isn't always necessary, but for our purposes, go ahead and put it. If you can't find it, then you can leave it out, because it's easy to trace back just if we know the publisher and the publication date. Okay, and there's only, maybe 3 of you using a book. Okay, if you can't find this information, please email me privately and I will be happy to Zoom with you and find that for you. But for the most part, everybody has websites. Okay, so hopefully you wrote down what you need to look for. And honestly, if I could highlight for you guys, you want the author, okay? You want the article name, title of website, definitely the publishing date, the URL, and the date you access the material. Okay, those are the basics that I think will work for everybody. And they are going to go in that order. Okay, I'm just going to make a note. So after the website, we're going to put a comma, and after the date access, we're going to put a comma, and then a period at the end. Okay? I'm sorry, I said comma after date access. That's wrong, because that's going to be the last thing that you put. Okay, so let's see what it looks like when you set one up on your own. So I'm going to do it exactly the way I would tell you guys to do it, although I do have a Word document already opened. Let me go back, though. I'm going to point something out. Do you guys see how it's reverse indented? This used to blow my mind when I was having to do this for the first time, because it wasn't easy. It's easy now, but it was not the easiest thing to do. We're writing at the very end of the left line, but when we get to that second line, it's not flush up with it, it's actually indented. Where usually when we indent, it's the first line of the paragraph, right? But this lets the reader know this is a Works Cited page. It's just one of those stylistic things that they want you guys to do. So imagine doing that on a typewriter, not easy. Okay, and yes, I use a typewriter for many of my papers. All right, so you're going to open up your Word document. Now, if you guys remember, I got to set this up for MLA. Actually, let me take that back. This is going to be part of your paper. Don't do a separate Word document. Put it in your research paper. So if your research paper is 3 pages, this should be page 4. So remember, I need to do my margins normal, so they're 1 inch from each side, right? I need to make sure that I'm in Times New Roman and that I'm 12-point font, right? I'm going to put my header up here, page number, top of page, and I want it over there. Okay, but I'm going to put Henderson in front. Okay, I want to make sure. See, it says Calibri body. I got to fix that, and that says, okay, better. So now let's pretend, because your Works Cited page is not going to be your first page, it's going to be your last page. So let's pretend that I did my other information. Casey Henderson, you had to have your professor's name, the class, and then the date. And remember, the date went like this. Which that's how it is in the citation too, in the Works Cited. I didn't point that out. And then of course we'd have our title, which is centered. You guys remember, biography, and then you guys would start typing. Okay, let's pretend that our biography is just 1 page. All right, so here's my next page, Henderson 2, Works Cited. I do not have to do my name all over again. It's the end of your paper, so you don't need to do your name again. But I do need a title. Now this happens to be centered because that's where I didn't type a fake paragraph, so it was still in the title mode. So do make sure that it's centered. If you're over here when you get to that page, just click over centered. We're not typing bibliography, it's called Works Cited. Okay, and then hit enter and then left align. And that's where you start doing your information. Now, I'm going to type this in real quick because I want you to see it with your eyes and write it down. Let's say I have 3 websites, which that's all you guys have to have. What order do I put them in? Because I know you guys numbered them, right? Number 1, number 2, number 3, just so you know which one to go back to. Well, hopefully you guys are saying ABC order. Okay? You're going to put yours in ABC order based on the first word, which for most of us is going to be the last name of the author. So just like in the dictionaries in ABC order, we're going to put these in ABC order. So if I have an author with the last name Abraham, they're going first. If I have one with the last name, I don't know, Billingsworth, they're going to go next. If my last one is Thompson, they're going to go last. Okay, ABC order. We're not going to number them or anything. The only thing special we're going to do is we're going to move that second line over, and I'll show you how to do that. However, like I said earlier, you guys are super lucky. So here is one of the websites many of you guys are using. you are using biography.com. I'm sorry, Britannica.com. I'm staring at it. And this one just happens to be on Stan Lee. And I'm only going to show you, I think, 4 different sites, the common ones that you guys are using. So this happens to be really nice to you guys. And look over here. It has a whole link over here. And it's going to cite everything you need for you. You don't have to look, which you should be clapping and doing jumping jacks and thinking, well, I don't want to be disrespectful, but this is a big blessing. Because I remember crying over this at times as a kid. So we're going to click on that, and it pulls up everything that you need. Look at that. Contributor, which would be the author, article title, website title, publisher, date published, URL, and then today's date, because today's the day I accessed it. You guys are so lucky. So just highlight all of that, or you can, write it down with pencil and then go back and type it. It's up to you. I'm going to copy. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go ahead and paste. Now, that's not what it's supposed to look like, right? But I have the information that I need, okay? But I do have to make sure it's Times New Roman and 12 font by the time I'm done, okay? So we know that the contributor goes first, right? So I'm going to get rid of that bullet point, okay? I don't want it underlined. And of course, I don't want it blue, but just wondering why that's highlighted. Okay, or underlined. All right, so the next thing's going to be is our article title. So I'm going to get rid of this information over here. I'm just going to pull that there. Okay, I'm going to put a period. Remember, the article title needs to be in quotation marks. Okay, put that period in there. Next would be the website, which is Encyclopedia Britannica. Now I can just drag it up there. Okay, I do want it in italics, right? And that one's going to have a comma. Sorry. Let me get rid of this. What comes next is the publisher or the date that it was published, and they happen to have both. Okay, so I'm going to drag that over there. And then the date here. Now I need to fix it, because if you guys notice in the other paper that I showed you, it has the day, the month, and then the year, just like we did in our research paper. Okay. And then, sorry about that. That should be a comma. And then I'm going to put the URL, which they gave to me. And again, I'm going to leave out the HTTPS right there. Okay. Put a period. And then the next thing I need is my access date, which again, put the day first, May 2020, and then you put your period. Boom, done. Very minimal work on your part. I'm going to get rid of all that. But it's not correct yet, because I need to make this a hanging indent. So here's what you do. Here's your ruler up here, and if you don't have it there, you need to go to View, and then click on Ruler, and it'll come down. Okay? I don't know how to do that without it. So I'm going to put my cursor right there. I'm going to take this little, I don't know, what would you call that? It's not a triangle, it's a little house. And I'm going to drag it right there. It's like the ½ mark. Okay? And it's set up that way. The other ones will do the same thing. Boom, and done. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. I have the authors. Again, it's not first and last name, it's just that group. I have the article title in quotation marks. I have the website in italics. I have the publisher. I have the date it was published by a comma. I have the URL, and I have the date that I accessed it. Perfect. Now, I don't know if this one will be first. Probably not, because it starts with a T. And again, everything's double spaced. And I can tell that it's not double spaced. So let me, if you guys remember how to do this, there are several ways to do it, but I'll go ahead and put double. I forgot to do that earlier. Not sure why it did that. That's all right. Okay, so now I'm going to hit enter and do my next one. Okay. So again, we did Britannica. Let me go to, some of you guys are using, not this one, you guys are using encyclopedia.com. I happen to use it for Gene McNamara. Here again, here is where they're going to give you all the information, but this one is even nicer to you guys. It puts it in the order that you need it. So all I have to do is copy, paste. So easy. Okay, but again, I'm going to go back and make sure that it's all Times New Roman. Okay, and they even see, there's my hanging indent. Okay. All right, let's do the next one. Ducksters.com, they have the same thing for you guys. It's a little confusing because there's two different sections that talk about citing the work, and one of them threw me off. So at the very bottom, so here's the article on Ruby Bridges from Ducksters. So I think that they're getting a lot of information from textbooks, from old books, because her information hasn't changed. So I clicked here on the Works Cited. That's not going to give me what I need. That's going to tell me what book they used to get this information, which is good, but I'm going to come all the way down to the bottom and go to Cite This Page. Okay, so again, super easy. They give you everything that you need. And remember I told you, I did everything MLA style from junior high to college to my credential, except one time I did this one, APA. So it's there. It just depends on the class or the instructor. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. Come stick it over here. Okay, so obviously that one is not 12-point font, so I'll have to fix that. Okay, now I'm going to see, I can tell that one's definitely going to go before this one, and that one will go in front of that one. So I'm going to show you guys one more, and then we'll make sure it's all the same. Okay, and see how even though there's a third line and a fourth line, it's still indented them for you. So there's one more, and biography.com. Somebody had asked about Elvis Presley, so I had him saved. Okay, so this is biography.com. You can see up here. And, oh, I think it's at the top. Sorry about that. Some are at the bottom, some are at the top. I forgot about this one. Let me make sure. Okay, I think this one was the bottom too. So, it's not up here. I was hoping it was, but... So, hope I don't make you dizzy. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. There we go. I still had it highlighted. Here's all of your information that you need. So I'm going to do what I did on the other one. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to copy it. So, because that way I don't make any mistakes when I go to put it in there. Okay. I know obviously I have to get rid of the other stuff. So where's the author? So right here, the author is biography.com editors. It's not going to be just one person. Okay. The article title is Elvis Presley Biography. Hopefully you guys are saying, don't forget to put the period, Mrs. Henderson. I'm not. Don't forget the quotations. I gotcha. Okay. Make sure I have my period in there. What comes next? Kind of gives it away, right? The website title's next. Let me get rid of those. After this one, I'll put a comma. And then we want the date. Oh, we have publishers. So we want that. That will go next. And then I want the date of publication. Do we have that? Original published date, we do. Okay. That one's a comma. And then I want the URL. Okay, perfect. The period. The last thing I need is the date that I accessed it. Boom. And then don't forget the period at the end. Now, do you guys notice this one is not, it's not indenting that second line for me. So I need to fix that. But first, I'm going to make it all the same. Okay, we already know it's double spaced, so let me go ahead and do Times New Roman, and it's all going to be 12 point. Okay. This one still, for some reason, isn't, so I'm going to pull this over. Boom, there you go. Okay, so now it's almost done, but it's not in APC order yet. So I'm going to go ahead, obviously this one's going to go first. I'm just going to highlight it and drag it up first. Okay, the next one, if you guys know your alphabet, M comes first, or before N. And then I'll get this guy, highlight him, pull him up there, and then that one's going to be last. Okay, that is my Works Cited page. Look how nice that looks. It's all uniformed. This, to be honest, when I get this page from students, it's all over the place. Because it is hard. So this is the way that you're supposed to do it. My title here is not any bigger or underlined or italicized or anything. It's just the very next page of my research paper, which hopefully your research papers are not one page. Hopefully this will be at least page 3. They're in ABC order. The second and subsequent lines are indented. You have punctuation after each entry that you have, whether it be a comma or a period. Your article titles are going to be in quotation marks. The website's going to be in italics. All right, so that's your Works Cited page. I'm so glad I got to make a video for it. I'm going to use this video next year. And I'll think of you guys. So again, if you have questions on this, please let me know. I know it's kind of a lot, but if you're using these 4 websites, it's kind of done for you. Now, if you're using another website, and I've gotten several other ones that you guys are using, and you can't find this, let me know. You can even send me the link and I can see what I can do with it. All right, thank you guys. Again, this is required. You need to send me a rough draft this week so I can check it out. And then when you turn in your final paper, I have to have this with corrections. Okay, this is huge. This completely prevents you from plagiarizing your paper. If you don't have this, you lose points. But you're saying that all that information you already knew. And you guys are pretty smart, but I don't think you knew everything about the people that you're researching. All right, guys, you have a blessed day, and I will see you later for Greek Olympics.